And good morning. It's Friday. I'm excited. I see 2 of the 4, 2 of the 5, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful Friday morning, man. Welcome to No Apologies, Please, man. I'm your host, Gregory Meriweather. And man, I've got some brothers lined up today. Right now, I got William Young, and I've got Steve Rutherford. And man, we're going to talk about just brotherhood, being black men in America, love, life, work, community, all the above, man. You know, when it's all said and done, you know, we talk about it a lot. We say, you know, the struggle is tough for black men. But today, man, we're going to dive real deep into that, man, and really have this conversation just about what it is and how it looks to be a black man in America. What does it take to survive? And I think I got enough ammunition with these brothers to be able to talk about it. So without further ado, man, I'm gonna bring them to the stage, man. We got my brother Steve Rutherford.
Morning.
And good morning. And we got my brother William Young, man. I said, William, what you got in the background, man?
I'm still at home in the home. I'm still at home in the home office, brother.
I like that. That's nice.
I see my brother Thomas X has just joined in. Add him to the stage. What's going on, brother? And I see my next brother. He's added to the stage, and that's Keith Graves, man. Listen, look at y'all.
The living legend. Praise.
You doing, man, I'm so honored to be hanging out with you guys today, man, and talking about really important stuff. So thank you guys, man. I appreciate you for having me on here.
Hey, man, hey, Rutherford, they said that Keith Graves could hoop.
Don't put that rumor out there, man. I ain't got no business being on the same court as Rutherford, man. Rutherford, you know, come on, man. That's my man.
I know my brother Thomas X is a hooper.
I didn't know that. That's fam too.
Hey, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. He don't have on a bow tie. But Thomas X is a hooper.
He'll put it on you.
Nice.
And I don't know who else golfs, but you know, William Young is one that like to swing them clubs. You know, right. He swear he nice.
I'm still struggling at that one, but I'll go out there every once in a while.
Hey, Greg, no par. If you don't make par, no cigar.
I like that. I like it.
I'm loving it. So, brothers, man, thank y'all for coming on, man. This is one for the ages, because when it's all said and done, y'all already know that it's a lot being us. It's a whole lot being us. And so, man, first I'm gonna start, man. I want everyone to introduce themselves. I'll start with Steve, and we'll go to Will, and then we'll go to Keith, and then we'll do Thomas X. So introduce yourself, brother Steve.
Quick intro, and again, thank you for having me. I love to be on the panel with these esteemed brothers. So Steve Rutherford, from born and raised in Indianapolis, West Side, Hallville. Went to school 52 for some of you all who are, Brother Thomas, you're probably not old enough to even remember when schools were numbered, but went to Washington. Actually, I've been opposing laws for a minute, because that's when busing started, I believe, like in 82, something like that. But I was like, nope, going to Washington. So was blessed, went to undergrad DePaul in Greencastle. There became a brother with brother Keith Graves. So that was a fantastic journey. I did my grad work at Texas Southern University in the MBA. Right now, I've got a lot of different roles. I'm a father, husband of 21 years, father of 3 boys, all adults.
Nice.
I am a lifer in higher education, so I work in higher education. I'm a vice president for a data analytics company. My main focus is like community colleges and HBCUs. I am one of the people that believes education is for everybody. Even if you don't necessarily want to be there, you can get something out of it. I also follow Christ, and I believe that we have Jesus, and we need our money to go with it. So there you have it.
My man. William Young, introduce yourself, brother.
Yes, sir, brother. I am from Anderson, Indiana, where we have the wigwam.
Hey.
So I know y'all had George Washington, about Christmas addicts, but we had the wigwam.
Facts. Yeah.
So
That's what you do.
Graduated in 2003 from high school. Attended the HBCU, didn't finish, but finally finished up with my master's from Delaware State University, which is an HBCU.
Nice.
Obviously, I'm on the police department. I serve as the public information officer for right now for under Chief Bailey. And then I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer for several funeral homes throughout the city. I appreciate you, Greg, letting me be on. A lot of esteemed brothers. I pretty much know everybody on here. Brother X, I know you. I've admired you from afar. We haven't officially met, but I've admired you from afar for a long time. So, brother, I appreciate everybody's work. Keith Graves, you and I work closely together. I am a graduate member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I didn't pledge undergrad. I did graduate. So, but I'm here with the brothers, and I try to do as much as I can. So, thank you.
So both Steve and Keith, they're both Kappas.
Yes, sir.
In the words of Nino Brown. So yeah, we got. Hey, brother X, don't worry about it. Keith Graves, introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, 3 in a row. Kappa Alpha Psi to the day I die. That's right. Pledge at the world famous Alpha chapter, where it all began, man. Kappa Alpha Psi is a great organization, man. I credit that fraternity for really being as much as 25-30% of who I am, man. Those brothers were always talking about achievement. And there's a part of me that really wants to make sure that I accomplish the goal that I learned in college. But I'm from Indy, lifer, IPS. The only thing about Washington is I used to kill him on track across country. You know what I'm saying? So, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be on this panel. IU grad, Broad Ripple High School graduate. And I'm on the Indianapolis City Council. The other hat that I wear within that role, I am the chair of the education committee. So, and much of what I do, including chairing that committee and even being on the council, man, is just really because I think that we all have to be somewhere doing something that's going to advance our people. So I'm probably one of the few people who I would say anybody want to take this role, they can take it. But if no one steps up, I'm going to do it. So that's kind of what motivates me on the council. The other hat I wear, I'm a licensed stockbroker. I've been a broker for 26 years now, continuously. Names like JP Morgan, Charles Schwab. I own my own firm, USA First Financial. It's a small company, registered investment advisory. We manage money for institutions, foundations, nonprofits, governments. And so I'm excited about some of the work we're doing as we forge through areas where minority participation is just limited. And so I'm really excited there. I grew up in Indy, primarily east of Meridian. So I'm east sider all the way to West Montgomery Park. Got Brightwood on my transcript, got some 42nd in college. I did it all around Indy. And man, I feel like if you made it through as a Black man in Indianapolis, man, in most major cities across the country in the 80s, man, you need to celebrate, man. You need to be excited. You need to be proud, man, because they threw things at us to try to take us out, man. So I'm just excited that I was able to make it again. I attached myself to some cool brothers when I finally got to college, because to be honest, college really wasn't talked about in my world. And I was like, man, them dudes are nerds, man. So I went down there because I'm from the inner city, you know what I'm saying? They even talk different. I'm like, okay. Found a brother who was so intelligent. He wrote for the Detroit Free Press, and he sounded like me. I was like, oh, okay, I got some connectivity. But I tell you, man, it's just really proud to be having this conversation today. Hanging out with these brothers, 3 of my my brother Tom X, that's my family, man. And Greg, I love you above all, man. So let's keep this thing going, man.
No doubt. Thomas X, come to the stage.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you well.
Man, first, thank you, brother, for inviting me on. Also, I want to thank the three other brothers, Brother Steve, Brother William, and Brother Keith, for doing the amazing work that you do, striving to be agents of change. And it's not quite 4 in a row, Brother Greg. I'm not Kappa Alpha Psi, but I am FOI to the
fruit.
Preach.
The fruit.
FOI, fruit of
Yes.
Islam.
Preach, bro.
Yes.
So it rhymed. It rhymed.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
It rhymed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, man,
author,
go ahead, brother.
educator, strive to be involved in activism as well. Strive to be an agent of change, as my brother Steve alluded to, husband, father, and so many more that goes beyond titles that can be presented. But more than all, I'm striving to be a brother. Right? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, even rather than just calling myself Muslim, he said the greatest title to have is brother. Yep. And so that's what I'm striving to be. And I pray to Allah that on this show today, we can do our best in sharing some brotherhood while conversing about a very, very important subject matter.
Yeah, awesome. No doubt. So man, I'm gonna start it out, man. And if y'all, be patient, we might take a little time because it's. I mean, we don't do this. So most shows y'all see don't do this. They don't come and just talk about brotherhood and being a man. So I'm gonna start out, man. I'm gonna start with my brother Steve, and I'm gonna ask all of you, but I'm gonna start with Steve, man. What does it mean to be a man to you?
Man, fantastic question. It means, to me, it means, man, we are kings, and we have a kingdom that we have been given, and we are to, as best we can, with the help that we get, we are to expand that kingdom. So if you have children, you are to put them in a better position than where you started. If you are a mentor, which I know we all are, we're supposed to bring other brothers up and make their jobs easier than what we found it. I mean, and Coach Prime was here last night, and the word that he uses that I love is dominate. Like that's a word as a man that we should use humbly. I think there are 4 areas that it means to be a man, and that's spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial. And we need a blueprint for all those areas. And so, the most important to me, again, is spiritual. I know we all can resonate with that. But then, particularly being a Black man, and the interesting thing is, we wouldn't change it, right? Like, if we had to do it all over, we'd still choose to be this awesome, wonderfully, fearfully made Black man. And whatever routes we took to get where we are, we still take those. You know what I mean? Kevin wouldn't change, coming up on the east side. We wouldn't change coming up on the west side. It's just a part of who we are. But it's the emotional part, because men have to learn, particularly Black men, we have to learn how to be confident, be present, reign in our spaces, but we also have to have a humility that allows us to give space and love to other brothers. So, and then physically, most of us or all of us probably, former athletes. So we understand what it takes to put that work in, and then financially. And if you have those 4 pieces going together, and there are ebb and flows, we all can point to times where our money was up and our money was down, right? Or our headspace was good, and then sometimes we were in dark places. Nonetheless, if we are striving toward that and we have some sort of compass, then we will get to where we're supposed to go. And then that's what it means to me to be a man.
No doubt. Keith Grace, come on and tell us what is man? What does it mean to be a man?
Man, my brother Rutherford definitely he clicked off on that one, man. He really explained it a lot. I really love the reminder that there's a king mentality that we must have. That's the best way to really summarize it. And we have to have a king mindset. We have to have an understanding that everything we do um, has an impact somewhere. Even if we don't have children, it has an impact on people who see us, people who wonder who we are. So we carry a lot, and it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. We can't run from the fact that we have a huge domain of influence just by being men. We carry the strength of the community and the strength of our families. So I like the relationship that he's making to the king. I also think that you have to really focus on improving, and I think Brother Rutherford alluded to that. Expanding is the word he used, and I think that it's important because our goals aren't to come into this world and take away, but to add to, and that means the passing down generational wonderment, generational encouragement, generational improvement. I think that that's an important part of what we do, as well as our financial improvements. I think we have to have a community-focused mind. Really and truly, it's no secret. Everything goes through the man. I'm sorry. we
No
we are
apology.
the kings. We are the kings of it. So we have to have that understanding, and we can't run from it. I think at times it does get challenging, especially as a black man. When you're a black man, you got the world is mad at you because of your skin color. Just one reason. They don't know who you are.
Skin
And you have
color,
to
stature. I mean, it's all there. I mean, when I look at this panel, Keith, I'll say this, man. These ain't none of y'all small.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that says something without you even opening your mouth.
Right.
Yeah. So you got challenges to overcome already, but you have to prevail. And I love, it's been said a couple of times that you have to have that, in my opinion, a relationship with God. You have to have that relationships to help you understand. And what has made this journey possible for me is my relationship with God. I said my frat helped me, my family helped me, but the core fiber through it all is my relationship with God.
Yep.
So I think, the worst thing a man can do is think that he's the top of the pile and he goes nowhere for additional guidance, additional leadership. So I'm led by the Father, and then it's possible for me to properly lead my family and those people in my community, everybody in my domain of influence. A man has an important job. So there's just a ton of responsibility. And I think once you identify all those things and take those responsibilities seriously, in my opinion, you've moved into manhood smoothly.
My man. William Young,
Beautiful.
what you got?
I believe in everything that everybody said, for the sake of time. Just being a man is everything. Leading your family, job, work. As Black men, I think about my two grandfathers who came out of Mississippi in the 30s and 40s and what that meant to be a man back then. The family depended on the man. And I think we still have to get that over to our young Black men even today. But we also, it's so important for them to continue to stay in the fight and not give up. A lot of kids, not saying this arrogantly, but I think everybody on this panel is successful. But how do we get to those young Black men who have given up, who are not in the fight anymore? That's so important to me. I go to tons of meetings where we talk about, the violence and all these other things. And I think about the men in those young people's lives, like where are they? What happened to them? So it's so important that this panel, we need 1,000 Greg Meriweathers. We need 1,000 Brother Thomas X's. We need a Brother Nuri Muhammad. We need Keith Graves. We need to continuously stay in the fight for those younger Black men as well too. So I think that's certainly important. Being a man is everything. Again, I wouldn't be where I am today. I don't believe, not only for my father and my two grandfathers, but people being around you, Greg, being around you, Keith. So many people have impacted my life, and I'm watching them. Maybe not saying anything to them, but I've watched them. And so that's so important to me. That's what being a man is all about.
No doubt. Nonetheless, Thomas X.
Man, when you asked that question, I was smiling so hard inside because I remember my older brother. I grew up on the west side of Chicago.
Hey,
so brother Rutherford,
I shine shoes on Central and Lake. Don't get it twisted. I shine shoes on Central and Lake, Madison and Pulaski. Don't get it twisted. Shine King.
My first job was on Madison and Pulaski at Foot Locker.
You hear me?
But yet, I remember I asked my brother asked me that question, and I was 13. And so, of course, I started naming all of these physical attributes. I say, man, a man is strong. A man gets money. You know, a man handles his business. He said, man, little bruh, a sissy could do that too.
Yeah.
This is what he told me.
It's real.
So it blew my mind
Chicago.
I thought, yeah, straight from. So I thought I was on it.
He was in Chicago.
And so when reflecting on the men that were in my life or the males, you know, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying that we've seen fallen man. We haven't just seen the epitome of what a man is on average.
Right.
But however, we do have some that reflect manhood. And so in the scripture, in the book of Genesis, it says God created who?
Man.
In his what?
Image.
And after his what?
Likeness.
Come on, brother.
Man.
So what is a man? God.
Oh, my man.
And the more we get to know God, the more of a man we could become.
Man, that's real.
So we know some of the functions of a man. A man is a protector. A man is a provider. A man is a maintainer. But however, what summarizes what a man actually is, we have to study the epitome of what a man is, and that is God himself. And the more and more we grow into the nature of who we are, we begin to reflect the God that we serve. And when we reflect the God that we serve and all of the attributes of that God, then we indeed are evolving into what is called a man, in my humble opinion.
I love it. I love it. Great. You know, for me, I'll say this, man. Every one of you hit on something. When it's all said and done, it's like the cliches of being a man are what's relevant. I mean, really, when we talk about it, a lot of people do. A lot of people say what a man is. A lot of people don't know what it is. And most of the time, I've said this before. Most of the time, when a young man hears what a man is, he hears it from a woman, and not from a man.
Right.
And that's an unfortunate thing that we deal with on an everyday basis. So, man, when we talk about this, man, as I look at this esteemed panel, every one of you brothers is busy. When I look at this panel, I see that 2 of the 4 of the 5, including myself, 2 of the brothers are married. I've been married. I've been divorced. What does it mean to be a busy man? And how does that work as it relates to relation? Because I know for me, it's quite the challenge when you're a busy Black man and trying to have a relationship, because a lot of people don't really know what it's like, and they don't see it. You know, Daddy went, you know, back in the day, Daddy went to work. You didn't have all the forms of communication, the forms of knowing where Daddy was. All those things didn't come into play. So now you look at busy Black men, and busy Black men go through hell simply because they're busy. And so I got two of the brothers who are married. I know my brother's been married before, Keith. I've been married. And then we got William over here. And so, man, I want y'all to talk about this, man, being a busy Black man. And I'll start with Thomas X, man, because I know he's married. But I want to start with you, man. What does it mean being a busy Black man, and how does it work in relation and how and to build family and all of that?
Man, that's a loaded question, bro.
I know it is.
Not only am I married, but we have 5 children.
Man.
with all type of activities.
Right.
So it's not just about the busyness. I would say productive. Right. I think the more productive we are, it brings a level of balance to being busy. Right. Because we could be busy doing nothing, right? Just filling up time, right? Not wanting to be around the house, around a lot of the busyness that's going on at the house. But yet I think that it's so important to communication. That's key. I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was saying that finances isn't the number one thing that break up marriages.
Facts.
He said it's number 2 or 3. Say, but no, let's not get it twisted. It is real.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's up there. He said, but number 1 is communication. And so it's very, and I have to admit, I'm improving. Like I'm improving on my ability to communicate with my family during times where I'm busy. And fortunately, I'm able to include my family in a lot of the things that I'm busy doing. Right. So it's very rare that outside of just being engaged in a community or teaching, it's very rare that you will see me by myself without my wife and children or without one or more of my children. So I think that communication piece is really big when you're someone who's always being pulled in multiple directions. Because also, just to add on to that, whenever we're pulled in multiple directions and it's a part of our mission, everyone in my family not going to understand my mission because my mission may not align with what they deem to be their level of comfort. Yes. So my son may want me at a game. My daughter may want me at a performance. However, if the mission calls and I have a duty to fulfill the mission that God has provided for me, then I'm unable to compromise that just to satisfy this moment of pleasure that I can provide you. So that's where the communication piece come in. And my wife is really, really critical when it comes to communicating with our children on a lot of the things I'm busy doing. And I have to give her kudos and props for that, because I was talking to a brother a few days ago and I was going down memory lane and how I would pull up to the house when I was teaching in the classroom. I would pull up to the house and you can hear footsteps just running to the door as soon as I would pull up. And it was the love of the children. Couldn't wait till I got in the house.
Right.
Love it.
But the minister said that really your wife is who teaches your children to provide a level of love for you. I thank my wife for always putting inside of my children a level of love that surpasses my level of busyness.
I love it. I love it.
Man,
I'll go with you, Keith Graves. You tell me.
Man, I was thinking Rutherford was going to chime in on that one. He's 21 in the game. No, but I definitely took that leap. Love is amazing. Love is beautiful. And marriage is a wonderful institution. It does require like-minded people to be on the same page and have an understanding of each other's goals. So there's nothing but support. I know that there are going to be challenges, and that's no doubt. I think that there just has to be an overwhelming commitment to stick together through those challenges. I look forward to the day I'm back in those ranks, man. I'm just waiting on God to say, go, to this place, and this is where your mate will be. So I've been prayerful on that journey.
No doubt. We're gonna let Steve go last because he got 20 rolling. So William Young, man, you're a single man, you're busy. I see you on TV all the time. How does that work, man? Because I think you and I talk a lot. and we share
I
a
want
lot
to
in
go back
respect
with what Brother X said, and he says that his wife, is basically responsible for putting that love into their children so that they love him. And it brings me back to my mom and dad. They've been married 50 years. My dad was the first Black police chief there in Anderson, and I remember growing up, we would be out to eat, and people would just come up to him, always wanting stuff, calling our house. We used to have people in that small town like show up. Hey, I had this happen last night. We need you right now. And he's like, wait a minute, we at home having dinner with my family. I can't stop doing what I'm doing. And I used to wonder as a kid, like where these people come from? But I also remember my mom always making it sure that I had love for my dad because of how busy he was. And when Thomas said that, it made me think of that. Wow. And I fast forward to me now, being an African-American police officer here, I know that people, especially in our community, depend on me. My phone rings constantly. Greg, I think me and you just had a conversation last night. And so I'm not married. I am single. However, it's certainly important that as a man, going back to that word again, as a Black man, as a Black police officer, I try to do everything that I can, especially when it's right, to be there for our people. So my phone is always ringing. And my dad actually laughs at me now because I'm busier than he was in that small town. And I'm here in Indianapolis. And he like, see, I told you it happens to you too. You used to be mad at me, but now he laughs at me. So it's a big deal within my family's home now. So
no doubt. Brother Rutherford.
Man, listen, I got a funny story. I keep it 100, man. Like, I've been married 21 years, but we probably were at divorce, man, probably 6 or 7 times. And I got a funny story. We both had come to the decision that we were gonna go separate ways, and it was a mutual agreement. So it wasn't any, just like, hey, we not happy. We gonna do something else. We are getting ready to go to our date in court. We're still living together, but everything's good. It's peaceful, more peace than we ever had. Man, the phone rings. The clerk calls and says, the judge is sick. We don't know when he's coming back. We just don't know when we're going to reschedule, but we'll let you know.
Divine intervention.
Wow, divine intervention.
We looked at each other and just laughed. We just said, that was probably like 12 years ago. We said, man, we got to work this out. So you get to that point, and we all, as athletes, my grandmother, and we all had grandmothers, and my grandmother didn't go past the 3rd grade, but was the wisest, one of the wisest people.
Same.
You learn lessons like, don't start none, won't be none. Just, mind your business. Don't go moving people's furniture in their house till you get your house clean. Just stuff like that. But my grandmother told me something. She was like, grown people do what they want to do, good, bad, or ugly. And in relationships and in marriage, you prioritize with your busyness. Like, you're going to do what you want to do. I mean, and we all have been guilty of doing stuff we didn't have no business doing, but we did it, and we did things that we knew we had to do. We pushed through. So that's one of the ways that you're going to get through that busyness, and you're going to prioritize. And Brother Thomas said it, and Keith alluded to it. And I know William and Greg, you understand this. I think the most critical thing, I had a conversation with one of my sons last night, and Brother Thomas, you spoke to this. You have to find your purpose, man. And then everything else gets alignment from that purpose. But, and Greg, you and I met about this, and we're going to continue to meet because my next journey in life is this ministry called Purpose Ministries. And it's because less than 1% of people actually live they go through their lives and never find a purpose.
Real talk.
Wow. And so if you not living in your purpose, you can't align the rest of it. And you still can be successful. You still can have money. You still can, you can have a good life, but you never are in that thing that the Most High created you for. And so you never reach the level of successfulness that you could have reached. And then you never had the impact that you could have had on other people. And so I love when Brother Thomas said that if you align with your purpose, and everybody else around you understands that, then everything else will fall into order. You begin to prioritize. You get rid of things you don't need and people you don't need. That's the thing. You get delivered from people. And sometimes even in your family, like your wife might not necessarily understand because it's not the purpose
Yeah.
that she was created for. She may have been created to support your purpose, but she can't understand why God has given you a heart, Brother Thomas, to get up in the middle of the night and go pray for somebody or go whatever it might be.
Yes, sir.
You know, Brother William White, you know, you got to find a wife that understands that this phone is going to ring. And I'm going to
Man,
Absolutely.
it's a calling. It's a calling in itself.
Absolutely. And you got to pick, and same with Brother Grace is like, and now you have wisdom, you understand that, like, that might be the first question on a, you know, a date. Hey, this is what I do. This is what
I'm
I'm
a
going to
busy
continue to
man.
do. You know,
Preach, Steve.
like a funny
Real
story.
talk,
Again, like,
man. That's man. Listen, you just hit the nail. Cause everybody's nodding.
Yeah.
And you brothers can attest to this. The woman that's in your life, Thomas is married, Steve is married. I've been married. Keith's been married. Youngster over here, you know,
still holding out. He's doing the right thing.
holding
Right?
out. But I'm gonna tell you something. The woman, as we move forward in this journey for the single brothers, one thing I know is the woman that I do marry must realize that I'm busy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's no way
Absolutely.
to work. This phone, this thing right here, this thing don't stop.
Yeah.
And it's people that call me for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I've had calls, my job did this, what do I do? I just had a situation where it was a mental health situation and me and the chief worked through it. I just had a situation, if I post something and they say, Expo just took a picture of your post and they sent it to the CEO, I have that. So when it's all said and done, you can't be one who looks and says, well, who, what, when, where, and how. At some point, you understand, I'm just a busy guy.
Yeah.
That's real. I can't imagine being William Young on Real Talk.
Yeah.
I see him I've seen him for the past 2 years or so on every crime scene that's taking place in this city.
Yep.
And so for anyone who doesn't understand that brother might just have to pick up and roll, ain't the woman.
Hey, can I ask somebody? Can I ask,
bro? No, chime in.
And because just in case this gets to the younger brothers, you know, I know Brother William is single. For any younger brothers that may be single as well, you know, it's so important. In the Nation of Islam, we have something that we are encouraged to do prior to getting married, and it's called courtship. You know, a lot of our grandparents may have used that. You out courting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you out courting. You out courting, yeah. But yeah,
Real
in the
talk.
courtship process, it's literally taking each other to court with questions, right? So
That's good.
I was on another show yesterday, and I had mentioned it. In courtship, you asking the most uncomfortable questions.
Real.
Man, what are your plans for the future? Right? As a man, you may ask the woman, do you have children? Do you want children? How many children do you want? Right? What type of career are you into? How do you see yourself helping me in what it is that I'm striving to do? Do you think that our careers align? Have you ever had an STD?
Preach.
Right.
Huh?
Real talk.
Uncomfortable.
We have to ask about the partners, because now that may be trauma that I'm coming into, or that may be trauma she's coming into that we have to deal with before we say I do.
Or
Off an emotional stance.
Or when you talk partners, the caliber.
Yeah, the caliber. Yes, sir.
Of man
That's
that
right.
you've had in your life. What are you used to? What kind of dudes have you dealt with?
Man, listen.
You know what I'm saying?
I think I told you before, Brother Greg, but I have 2 teenage sons, and I had conversations with them. And a conversation that I had with them, and this was maybe last year, I was teaching them or talking to them about the value of their virtue. Oftentimes when we hear virtue, it's related to a young girl,
right,
or female.
Yeah.
But I was telling my sons, I say, man, the more virtuous you are, you increase your value too, son.
Real talk.
Because there are very few individuals that have jumped off the porch early, as we say,
Yeah.
that have gotten active early, that have accomplished their primary goal, their primary desire that they wanted out of life.
Right.
Doesn't mean they didn't become successful at something. God blesses us with many gifts, skills, and talents, but that thing that lit up your soul, that really had stars in your eyes, man, once we become active early, we begin to become deceptive. How can I get it tomorrow? Can I skip class?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get out early? But yet, the more virtue we have as young men, it increases our value because it puts us in a position where we stop making decisions based on emotion and we make them off logic.
Real. That's deep there. Can I add something to that?
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
brother. We
just
talking.
like it's
Let's
just
talk.
man, when we talk about young people, like we also have to, we got to change the narrative as Black men. Like we got to stop, we got to step up. And there's some things that we heard, that we were taught, that I just don't. I tell my sons, like, listen, you're not looking for a better half. You're gonna be whole when you find a woman. Like that, she's not gonna be your better half. She's there to support you, there to support her, but you gonna be whole. You're not gonna be half. Not gonna be half of anything. We're not doing it halfway. So you're gonna have your walk right with God. You're gonna have your mental health stuff right, you know. And we know, you know, based on the individual, it ebbs and flows. But you're gonna have your money right, you know, and you're gonna have these things in place, and then you're going to choose, which is not what I did. You're going to choose when you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids. And like my youngest son is an answered prayer. Like this dude went to school in Boca Raton, and I just could imagine if I went to school in Miami. First of all, I wouldn't even gone to class. I'd have been on South Beach, and they would have had to come and find me. But this dude, you know, he ended up marrying his elementary school sweetheart, and the dude called me. Now, mind you, I prayed, you know, Lord, make him different than I was, right? Because by the time that he got married, they were married for 2 years, then they had a kid. So the dude calls me and says, hey, you know, we're pregnant, we're having a baby. And so the first thing I say was like, because I didn't know they were married. They were actually already married. They had been married 2 years before and didn't tell anybody, because he wanted to do things the right way. And so I was like, first thing I said is like, man, look, we got to talk. Like, you know, you all need to become a family. You need to get married. He's like, we already married. So, man, I just had to thank God, because that's an answered prayer. So he chose his wife. They chose when they were going to start a family. These are things that I didn't learn. I wasn't taught. I fell into it because my first child, I wasn't married. My second child, I wasn't married, and so forth. And we know that happens in the Black community with men, but we got to change the narrative, and we got to teach our young men, get you right first. Get you right. Like if you got issues, hey, get you some therapy and deal with those issues before you bring in that woman.
Man, listen, there's a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And everything y'all saying is in that book. It's funny that it ain't funny, but it's ironic that Brother Thomas X went to Genesis, and he talked about in the beginning. And The Way of the Superior Man talks about how a man, and going to Steve, a man, when Adam was created, again, he said, let us create a man, right? And in our like, in our image, and so on and so forth. And the beautiful thing that we must adore about this creation is that before God gave Adam Eve, Adam was in his purpose. It said he gave him all power and dominion. He named everything. He did this, he did that. Then when the got to the point where he was like, he's on his job, he's doing his thing. And he said, it's not good for him to be by himself.
Right. After, man, that's powerful.
But he was in his purpose before he gave him a woman.
Right.
And what happens in being a man who was married but who was not in his purpose, it made it difficult, because if you are truly in your manhood, you're going to always seek your purpose.
Right.
And the challenge in seeking your purpose while married is the fact that you're going to deny the woman.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Find your purpose first.
Because your purpose is more important than her.
Right.
And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you look and you say, man, I'm not really being this to her simply because I'm seeking something. She's not nearly enough.
Mhm.
And it's crazy, but it's the truth. But once you find your purpose, then the ability to find someone to come into that is a totally different thing, because you say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every single day I'm gonna get up and this is how I'm gonna be. It ain't gonna change, because that's what I do.
Right.
And I think that it makes for a different marriage once you're inside of your purpose, or a different relationship when you're inside your purpose, simply because you found it. Do we agree?
Yes, sir.
No doubt. No doubt. Man, do y'all got some time? Are y'all pressed for time?
No, I got time.
Well, we'll keep talking. Good. I'm loving this. So, man, when we look, man, we talk about just community. And what we see, man, is a lot of waywardness, a lot of brothers who, you look and kids are missing, their dads. A lot of brothers are incarcerated. A lot of brothers, we're dying at an earlier rate, so on and so forth, man. Tell me, man, what you see in this community and what you believe. I know we know that our presence is important, but tell me about the importance of our presence in this community and how you believe that it can make a change just by us being elevated. When I say being elevated, I'm saying that real brothers have to be elevated. We're not promoted, supported, looked at, brought out, put on commercial, made it to be like we're the solution.
Right.
So I need y'all to tell me, man, what you believe is going to help from a community perspective as it relates to Black men. And I'll start with Thomas X. I know I ask a lot of questions, man.
Oftentimes we don't take the time to process the question. So I was
my brother
processing it, because it's really so much that is going to take. It's not just one thing that is going to take. However, not just the presence of men in the community, but going back to that word, the productivity of men in the community. Right? Men sharpen men like steel sharpens steel.
Preach.
So there's going to have to be men who are willing to hold each other accountable. Right? We have to hold each other accountable in sharpening the young males that we're complaining about.
Right.
Preach.
There's a saying that a mind stretched by a new idea never returns to its original form. Could it be that these young brothers' minds have not been stretched, not by words? Black men, we have become some of the coldest word gymnastic gymnasts, right? We try to stimulate the hell out of something. Right? Yet there's a saying that your actions are so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. Could it be that these young males have not seen us articulate in our movement what a man is? Articulate by providing some type of tangible solutions. Because even let's talk about the young brother in the street. We don't always want to dwell on that brother, because it's young brothers who are in between doing what's right and doing what's wrong, but yet they don't have the male support from a firm perspective to push them to go the right way. But yet, if the wrong way is attractive, and yet these men who talk about they are strong men, these men who talk about how they the solution, they're not doing all within their power to become attractive to the reality in which I live right now. And all of the pontification that we have going on is not going to help with being able to change or the solution to our issue. But we have to be intentional. In my humble opinion, we have to be intentional about presenting God to young males in our personal being.
Right.
Yeah.
We live in a community right now where less than 50% of our community are readers.
Preach.
There, nearly half of Americans are walking around functionally illiterate.
Facts.
So if we are unable to introduce brothers and sisters to God, specifically young brothers, to God via a book, then we have to become the physical book that represents the God that we striving to introduce them to.
I love it.
And what is God? We said at the beginning.
Right.
Man is a reflection of the God.
That's real.
So
That's real.
That's
Steve Rutherford,
yes, sir.
answer that.
So I've been mentoring actually for through basketball. I've been a basketball coach for like 30 years, and still now I still coach and mentor kids, young men. And so I talk to them, why would you do X, Y, Z? Some of them been in trouble, some of them haven't, and so forth. And it all comes down to the same thing. And the word, like when we boil it all the way down, it comes down to freedom. And they don't have freedom, and they haven't been taught freedom. And so therefore they're seeking it in places that they shouldn't find it. It might be it might be a woman, it might be a gang, it might be on the street. They want the same things. They want to be able to provide for themselves. They want to be able to help out their mother or family. And so how are they going to do this? Are they going to do this sitting in a classroom? Now, if you can show them a way through education, you have to show them that this is not instant oatmeal. It's going to take some time, but we can get you there. And then you got to navigate, all the things that go on and so forth. Are they going to get it, in the hood? Are they going to get it wherever they go? They're seeking the same thing. There's a scripture, and it all comes back to purpose. And the earlier you find your purpose, the earlier you can have some hope to anchor to. And that's what we got to introduce to these young men. Like, we got to teach them that they were created for something more than what they see. And then once they find that out, what are your gifts? What are your talents? What do you love to do? I was saying there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes 3:11, I believe, where it says that there's a longing put in your heart that only God can fulfill. And so the quicker you can get to that longing and start to pursue that longing, whatever that longing might be, and we all, might have something different, that is what's going to give them some anchor and some hope. Because I got young men right now. They are, some of them are in great schools. Some of them went to school, had to come back because they didn't have the tools. They went through high school, seemed like they have straight A's, but were they just getting passed through? Now they get to a school, they don't know how to write. Just a lot of different things. They went to a white school. Should they have gone to an HBCU? These are things that, it really comes down for us, like the OGs of the community, is mentorship. And mentor can be an acronym, meeting every need through our relationship. Who are we mentoring? Like if us 5 had 5 mentees, that's 25 people. We're going to change the trajectory of their lives. However we do it. Right. And so that's one of the biggest issues that I see in Indianapolis. And Greg, you and I have talked about that, and I'm sure you talked about that with the panel, is like Indianapolis is similar to Chicago, but in a different way. Like, Chicago is one of the most segregated cities based on color
the country. Facts.
In the country. But Indianapolis is segregated, but it's not based on color. Yeah. So, because people
based on classism.
Yeah.
Indianapolis is more classism than racism.
Right.
When you look at it, because Black people chime in, and I've always said this, Steve, that the greatest racism is classism.
Yep. Yeah.
because black people that get money start acting like white folk with money.
Right.
That's
I
another
mean,
story.
you
That's
got
another story.
organizations that won't work together. You got churches that won't work together, and we forget that everything before we could have access to other resources, everything was birthed out of the church. Civil rights
Preach.
movement, education, entrepreneurship, strategic partnerships, all that was family, all that was birthed out of the church.
Yeah.
But I got a church on the east side and a church on the west side, and we don't want to talk to each other, and we don't want to. So these are the things that, you know, as I tell my kids, we got to polish these things up, because there's a lot of good that's happening in the city. It doesn't get as promoted as much as it should. And then there are a lot of brothers like you, Greg, that, you know, are out here on the front lines and need the support of the community to say, hey, man, listen, this is one of ours and we got him. You know, and you know, the fiery darts, we got all of them blocked, and we gonna work. And so it's things like
man,
that
I appreciate that.
we gotta push into our young men, and so they can grow up to be men.
No doubt. William Young.
So I agree with, again, every Thomas X, for all you guys and what you're saying, and especially when we talk about the young generation. My focus is so much more on our generation. When we think about our young black men, I can't be with them all day, every night. Greg, you can't do it either. Only thing that we can do is what we can do. But what does it look like to get with those fathers or those people in our generation, those black men in our generation, who may have not necessarily missed the boat, but who hasn't had the opportunity to be with their sons? What does that look like?
Yeah.
I'm with mentoring. I'm with helping the young teenagers, but we still cannot forget our generation and what we still need to pour those fathers to be able to pour into their seeds or their young men.
Right.
Because again, going back to my father, I don't believe I would be where I am today, not saying that I'm this grand person, if it wasn't for my father and also my grandfathers and those men in that generation that helped me get to where I am today.
Right.
So it's so important for us not to forget, yes, pour into those young people, pour into those young men, be a mentor, do everything that we can do, but we still cannot forget the generation of brothers that we don't have with us that need to be with their sons, if that makes sense.
It does.
No doubt. Keith Graves.
Yeah, no, I definitely like how Brother Rutherford kind of talked about the mentorship piece. I think really where I am today, it probably would not have happened had I not stumbled into St. John Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Andrew J. Brown at about 15 years old. Man, funny enough, I'm just going in because we heard that they had like a free lunch in the summer, and we were just hungry. Me and my cats, we was like, yo, they got one over here at St. John. They got one at Hill Center. So I'm coming from 25th and College area, and we walked down there, and little did we know that that the leadership in the church, including Reverend Dr. Andrew J. Brown, would be mentors to us. And so that was really my introduction to even college. I went on my first college tour. So those things helped me grow. And as I think about why I do what I do today, which is a tremendous sacrifice financially, it's a sacrifice with my time away from a lot of the things that I could be doing, is because of those earlier experiences that I had when people poured into me, like those guys. So fast forward, just 5 or 6 years later, I'm out of school. I'm in school. I'm coming home for the summers. Me and my friend, we went to the church leadership. Hey, can we create a mentorship program? So we created the St. John Youth Awareness Program. We mentor kids in the community I grew up in, Brightwood. Some of them are in our community doing great things today. Fletcher Triplett, for example, he's one of those guys in our community that's doing some really wonderful stuff. Those are my mentees. And we did it around sports. We did it around food, because we understand that those are the two things that we can definitely bond on. And really where I always go to is I want to remind these people and myself, and as Brother William said, even our own generation, man, we got to remind ourselves to know who we are, because there's so much being thrown at us that we could be confused. And we talked about being kings. we can take a backseat role. We can let our women lead us. We can let the community tell us that what we are. But we just have to simply know who we are. We have to ignore the things that are being thrown at us negatively. I mean, if you look at the news, if you look at social media, it's so negative where Black men are concerned. But the big thing I try to encourage my young brothers is to say no to the things that are being brought to them. Systemically, man, I can't, I gotta believe that it's a systemic, and I think we can probably find some agreement somewhere that the drug game, whether it's using, unfortunately, or selling, and the glory that you get from selling and the financial proceeds, those things, we have to resist those things. We have to resist even the easy access to guns, because that really wasn't for gun-toting general Americans. That was really put out in public so we can have access to guns, so we can, without gun education and without proper mental health treatment, we can hurt ourselves, each other. So I think we have to say no to the things that are challenging, even cheating on our relationships, doing things that will cause us to go to jail, the things that we have to say no to. And then we have to remind ourselves that we have to work hard for our families every single day. Those are some of the things that I say, but I can't ignore the fact that somewhere I believe that systemically these things have been placed in front of us, and we just have to be stronger. It's almost like we're all athletes. We know when you facing a giant on the other side of your sport, you don't stop playing. You play harder. You figure out a way to win. And I believe in some ways we can look at it like, because of our hundreds of years of challenges and oppression and systemic oppression, we're facing a giant, but we still get up and we still fight that fight. We still go hard for each other, for ourselves, and for each other and our families. So we can't stop that fight. And we have to recognize that it's being put in front of us. It's a game. Our music, it's a game. Let's resist those things that are going to cause us to go out to a club and shoot up a club of nothing but beautiful young Black people. Why would we do that to each other? That's what we have to get to. And resisting our vices that cause us to really kind of check out on the responsibilities that we have. We have to resist those vices, and put our nose in the ground. I remember before I became a licensed stockbroker, I wanted to go to law school. So I'm working for the government, working in a low paid position, but I had a government car. So I thought, this is the bomb. I'm cool. I really was struggling financially 100%. And then they said, this great company's coming to Indy and they're looking for people. I just fell in love with the market. So I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna try. But they were like, but you gotta take this test. I'm like, I gotta think about that. I got this comfortable situation. Yeah, Series 7. I got this comfortable situation. I ain't making no money. Got a company, look, government car. Man, if you really want to succeed, if you really want to move outside of your challenge, if you want to bring your family financial help, you have to put your nose in that book. I told myself that at that time, I got to leave this comfortable situation, because this ain't going to support my family. This is not going to help me get my children taken care of, help them prepare for college, etc. So I did leave that situation. I did find that test was a challenge, but I passed it, and I was able to begin a new journey that I'm still in 26 years later. But you have to grind it out. You have to take on those challenges. So much, man, that we can say within that. But I do appreciate a lot of the contribution that the brothers are saying here on today's call.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm gonna ask Thomas X this question, man. As a man, and I want you to speak towards, not just yourself, but for single brothers. Aren't there greater temptations when you're successful?
Yes.
When you look and you find that a Black man is doing his thing, he's out in the forefront, he's deemed as powerful, they think he's got stature, he looks great. And all of a sudden, more temptations come to that brother. Speak on that and the perils of a brother and all the things that he has to deal with based on being a brother who's got it together. How does that brother maneuver?
Number one, emphatically yes.
Yeah.
If the audience don't know what I mean by emphatically yes, hell yeah.
My man.
But yes, Of course, there are more temptation, not just temptation in the form of women, but temptation in the form of anything that strikes the Lord desire. It can be alcohol. It can be any choice of drug that a person is into, right? It can be all manner of things. But yet, as Brother Keith was speaking, and the question that Brother William posed as well, as it relates to men in our generation who aren't able to, who haven't built a relationship with their children. The one thing that came up in my mind was discipline. Really, discipline is one of the greatest components that we're lacking right now, specifically as men. As we're just coming out of the holy month of Ramadan 3 days ago, those who don't quite know what Ramadan is, this is 30 days of discipline that supersedes some of the routines that happen throughout that month. So those who are familiar or have a sense of what Ramadan is know that throughout the daylight hours, we're not consuming any liquids. That includes water. People always say water too. Yeah, water as well.
Water too.
Any food. We're not having intimate intercourse with our spouse. However, the day is used to engage in prayer, to strive hard to read for the 30 days, the entire cover to cover Holy Quran, and then engage in acts of service, but also strive hard not to argue or quarrel. Strive hard to not engage in listening or watching entertainment that is violent.
Wow.
So it puts us in alignment with the purpose for why we living.
Right. Wow.
And that's a
Never
discipline.
knew that.
So now, whenever we can forego necessities of life, food, water, and what brings life to in existence, sex, if we can avoid those for a long period of time, surely we can go without the things that aren't necessities in life. And striving to successfully complete these 30 days, it shows us that we have within ourselves to accomplish anything that we set out to accomplish.
Right.
I love
So the
it.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that a person that can control their appetite can conquer anything in life.
Wow.
So I say that to say, when it comes to us as men, this world is constantly throwing distractions at us. Constantly. Because what the scriptures of the Bible say, I think it's in the book of James, a double-minded man is what? Unstable. Not in one path or one way or two ways. In all his ways.
Right.
So the more and more we fall in love with discipline, we can build those relationships with our children, Brother William, because if we haven't built a relationship, building it is uncomfortable. And we don't go into building a relationship as dad and child. Man, we have to genuinely become friends.
Yeah.
Right. Oftentimes, I heard it when I was young. I came from a single parent household. So, when as a boy, you do boy things, man, and you may get on your mama nerves. And that black woman go say, listen, I ain't one of your what?
Friends.
My dad used to say, I ain't one of your buddies.
That ain't one of your guys. Yet, whenever we think of the word friend doesn't have to just be someone that we socialize with to have fun, but a true friend helps bring the very best out of us. And so if I'm striving to reestablish a relationship or establish an initial relationship with a child that I haven't established a relationship with, I have to approach that child as a friend. I have to learn what is it that makes you comfortable? What is it that makes you uncomfortable? Because I haven't been around to know.
Right.
Man, what do you like to do? What don't you like to do? And now as I'm learning you, I know how to make the proper adjustments as a father to build comfort zones where now I become your comfort zone. And we can have that parent-child relationship that we didn't have initially. That makes sense?
Yep.
It makes all the
Absolutely.
sense in the world.
And then as men in general, because our power is null and void, the more we're affected by distractions. Our focus has to become the primary objective that we strive to master. Because if a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, then what a single-minded man is. It's the opposite.
Right.
It's the
We're
opposite.
stable
Yeah.
in all our ways. It doesn't mean that we're unable to do more than one thing.
Sure.
But yet when we're focused and we're able to tap into those God-given gifts, skills, and talents, man, bro, Keith, there's nothing on the face of the planet Earth that you, I, Brother Will, Brother Steve, Brother Greg, and any other black man is unable to accomplish.
Right.
I have a teacher on my teacher, man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when you learn about God, the knowledge of God is akin, A-K-I-N, akin, alike to the knowledge of self. And the knowledge of self is akin to the knowledge of God. When we learn about God, we learn about self. And the more we learn about self, we learn more about God.
Right.
Man.
But when we're focused and we learning about God and we begin to execute on some of the principles, some of the attributes that we have, that God has provided with us, I mean, God provided us with, then we have the opportunity to surpass this false ceiling that's been placed over our head and bust through that thing, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that the mind is infinite. We're only limited by our lack of vision.
Man,
Love it.
that's
Love
real.
it.
So Hosea 4:6 said that my people are destroyed for what?
Lack of
Lack of knowledge.
A lack. It
Lack.
means that there's still a possibility to get an abundance of, but we have a lack of knowledge. And then it goes on, Brother William, it says that because you rejected the law of God, I will reject your progeny. So a lot of what we're seeing going on with the youth is because we have rejected
Yeah.
the law of God.
That's a word, bro.
So we just
That's a word.
we just do the opposite. If we begin to accept the law of God, then the progeny will be turned back over to the hearts of the fathers and the mothers.
Man, preach. Man, this has been awesome, man. So I'm gonna go and just tap on that verse real quick, and then we're gonna close out. But it says James chapter 1, verse 7 through 8 says, "But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do." In all they do. So, man, we're gonna go around the table, man. Just tell the people what you're doing and what you're working on, where they can find you. So I'll start with Brother Steve.
You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. As I said, I'm a VP for analytics company. I'm launching Purpose Ministries actually next month. We're going to start off with a virtual Bible study, and then we're just going to get active in the community. God is pouring out his spirit in a different way. And so we just going to tap in. And our primary purpose is helping people find their purposes in life.
We can just follow you on your social media, and we'll get informed about the Bible study.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that.
Brother William.
William Young. Hey, man, it was a pleasure being here, Greg. I appreciate everybody on this particular panel. We got to do this again if you allow us to, Greg.
Oh, absolutely. I think we should make this a forum. If we can if we can possibly figure out how to do this on, if we look at Fridays, man, I would love to just do this as a forum. And we just do the brothers forum and we chop it up and talk like we talk and let the people hear this good conversation. Cause real talk, man, I looked and the time went by so fast. I was like, whoa. Cause I mean, it was just good on real talk.
Hey, time flies when you have
so if y'all can commit, man, we can make this happen, man. So we'll talk about that.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, follow me, you can reach out. I'm willing to talk to anybody. I'm all about helping our people. Anybody, Facebook, anything, just call me, reach out to me. Greg, you know how to get in touch with me. If somebody reaches out to you, I'm willing to help, talk to anybody. So Facebook, follow me, I'm there.
No doubt. Brother
Keith Graves, man, on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Chairing the education committee was, again, it was something that I wanted to make sure we get done to really focus on some of the challenges that we see across the educational landscape. We're talking some of the worst literacy rates in the country are right here in the Black community in Indianapolis. So I want to do what I can to use the voice of the council and leadership of our council in partnership with the mayor's administration. We do have the Secretary of Education, Dr. Katie Jenner, coming before our committee in June, I believe. So we're real excited about bringing some attention to the challenges. So we got a situation where the governor and the mayor and our leadership on the council, we're all in sync saying that education needs to be a priority. But not only about education, I want to encourage all the listeners to come to committee meetings. No, not just the big council meetings. A lot of decisions are already made during the council meetings. But come to the committee meetings, because believe it or not, your voice can be heard and you can influence decisions that are going on. We are absolutely the voice of the people, which means we need to hear your voice. And we do tap into our communities respectively, but we don't always get everybody. So come out to our committee meetings, whether it's public safety, metropolitan development, or municipal corporations, which is all the different various entities that we have, library, Indigo, the people who run all the different venues like Lucas Oil. Public safety being the big one, one that gets a lot of attention. I want to encourage people to come to those committee meetings and voice your opinion. We're trying to make change. There's a lot of unfortunate circumstances happening where youth and gun violence is concerned. We're talking about a record number of police action shootings within a 1 year period. We're talking about a lot of challenges that we need the voice of the people to be there, yourselves, not just using our voice for you, but I want to encourage people to come out. It's always surprising that people, say a lot, but they don't come to those committee meetings and we don't hear from them. They don't even go to their own neighborhood association meetings. There's community meetings right in your neighborhood. And typically your council person will be at that meeting. So at least you can get your voice made clear to your counselor if you go to the neighborhood association meetings. But a lot of times we're not plugged in. We're not trying to be plugged in. So whether you go to a committee meeting in the city county building, or if you go to a neighborhood, get involved in your neighborhood and your community. Let's build our communities up. Let's restore that family value. We can win. We're fighting against a giant, but we can win. I think we got a lot to be proud of. If you're strong and you Black and you in this community, you ain't got to take no test. You already passed. You already done the hard work. You've already done it. We're not like a CPA or a stockbroker where you got to take a test. You already passed the test. Let's just walk in that light.
No doubt. Brother Thomas, close us out. What you got?
Oh man, once again, thank you for being on, and thank all of the brothers for the amazing input and conversation that we had. This was a wonderful example of brotherhood, because I know I've been edified being here. On social media platforms, Thomas X, right? LinkedIn and Instagram as well. I'll be keynoting, as you know, the leadership conference for our youth at CLD in a few weeks now, coming up. I think May 18th, right? May 18th.
Yep. Both of us are speakers on that. Absolutely.
Yep, we are. Yes, sir. I have something coming up where I'll be supporting the Genius School on May 15th. I have a few more engagements coming up as well. Working on book number 2, part 2 of Mountain Mover. You can go to my website, find out more. That's empowertomove.com, empowertomove.com. And just striving to also Love and Light Learning Academy. My family's child care. So we've been having a child care for the last 6 years. And by Allah's permission, we've grown pretty fast. And it's really come by word of mouth based on what we strive to provide our children, right? We wholeheartedly believe that our children in that age bracket, right? We talking about 6 months to 6 years of age. These children need to be provided with a love-centered curriculum. No, we don't babysit. As soon as a child can retain some information, we provide them with a curriculum that allows them to begin the process of learning and growing. And
Man,
so
that's beautiful.
we have that as well. And anything else that may be slipping my mind, please just get in contact with me. And on social media, website, and Brother G, you have my information as well. So once again, I thank you. And man, thank you, brothers, once again for what you do. What you're doing for our community and what you do for yourselves, because self-improvement is the basis for community development.
And so just sharing that info, man, May 18th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. CLD. We got the 5th Power Leadership Conference where Thomas X is the keynote. You got some other people on there that you can see, man. It should be a great time for the youth, man. I'm excited to be a speaker on that on there as well. So definitely looking forward to that, brothers. I just want to say this, man, y'all. Shout out real quick to Shauna Majors. For those of you who don't know, Keith Graves and I went to the last man cave that they had over at the Brightwood Community Center. So they're going to have another man cave. And man, I'm going to tell you, brothers got together and we just sat around and we talked about everything from the basketball to politics to whatever. And then we sat down, and just chopped it up. And it was such a great time. So again, that's going to happen May 16th at the Brightwood Community Center, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So man, I'll definitely do my level best to be there again, because I think it was a great time. So shout out to Shauna and her team for having a place and a safe haven for brothers to be able to come and chop it up and just sit down and have some good food and a good time and just talk as men. We need that. So man, I just want to say this, man. I thank you, brothers, man. Keep doing the work that you do. Again, everybody's got the email. So let's see if we can, at least, maybe once a month we can chop it up and get back on here and talk again. And if y'all want to do it more, y'all tell me. We create the forum and just be like, it's brothers, it's Fridays for the brothers, and we'll do this thing and chop it up, man, and share some wisdom and some knowledge and just embrace each other and let them know what it means to be, who we are in this world, man. So I thank every one of y'all, man. Now get on off of here and go do some work, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all have a great one. All right, man.
Take care, brothers.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
No doubt. So, man, this has been a great show, man. I truly enjoyed having my brothers on here because, man, they definitely, them guys do some work on Real Talk, man. And so, man, without further ado, we do what we do with our verse of the day, which is Proverbs 27:17. It says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." This simple statement has been a calling for all these years to understand that no one is alone, that in order to make yourself better, there is a mutual benefit, making others better through mentorship, followership, and leading. And we already understand what that means, man. It needs no explanation. This has been a great show, man. I've enjoyed this immensely, talking with my brothers, man, and I'm so glad that they were able to come on and share. So, man, next week, man, we're gonna line up some brothers. We're gonna line up some people. We're gonna line up some sisters as well. We had a great time this week. with the sisters that came on to talk about being teen moms and the whole nine, and then bringing these brothers on. So next week, man, my brother, I'm going to say this, Ibrahim Tanner was supposed to be on the show. We had some technical difficulties, but I'm going to bring the brother on by himself. And we're going to chop it up, man. He's a brilliant brother, and I look forward to speaking with him. So I'm going to see if I could get him on next week and just get his perspective on things, man, because the brother always chimes in and gives some great information. So without continuing on, man, I just wish y'all to I want y'all to have an excellent weekend. Enjoy it, be safe, be wise, make great choices. When it's all said and done, man, we got to be the people that we're called to be, the people that God called us to be. And just love each other, man. There's nothing that we do nothing that we should do to hurt, harm, or put each other in danger. This has been your brother, man. I love y'all. Hey, if you want to help, when you ask a question, how can I help? Share the video, and you can donate to No Apologies Please on Cash App as well. It's been your brother. Have a great weekend. Peace.